Straight from that angle.
Look at that.
Where's my line? Right over here.
Text.
It's okay if it's a little ways up from the ground. It's sometimes nice to have a flat area. In other words, you might want to move this wow down a little bit from the top, if you want to, okay? Okay, so now we got this.
It doesn't have to go all the way up to the
This
point.
is our
so
wow.
it's the
This
same.
is the pie that needs to be taken out on that side, okay? So this is gonna be a seam. You add a 1/2 inch to this.
Yep.
You'd add a 1/2 inch to this. You probably even have,
Could you
this would be a seam, that would be, you know, our regular seam in the middle. And then
fold it
pieces.
on this line and then just transfer this to the opposite side and then stitch it? Fold it. Transfer this through, that line through, and then just fold it and then stitch it.
I suppose I could fold it right along the center line
Yeah.
and then draw my line and then put the pounce wheel on it and bingo. You got the
Oh,
other
for
side
the
the
patterning?
same way, yeah.
Is that what you're saying for patterning?
No.
He's saying for
Just for the
fabrication.
fabric.
Oh.
If you would have folded along the line and then just
Oh, no.
stitch.
You know, it doesn't. You can do that, and that's fabric fitters have to do that. But no,
Oh.
it wants to be a seam.
So you would cut to fabricate this. You would cut this, and this would be
Add a
pattern
1/2
piece,
inch.
pattern piece, pattern piece, pattern
It would
piece.
make a dart.
Flip it,
Yeah.
stitch it, flip it back over, top stitch it.
And I
Oh,
put
yeah.
the reinforcements in before
Yeah.
I did before I stitched the dart.
Over the windshield. Yeah.
Oh, reinforcements over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's flat. You always want to do all that stuff when it's flat. Don't be stupid.
And yeah, well, and then another part of that not being stupid is don't be stupid and reinforce this. Just make it 2-ply.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Okay.
this is actually
That
small
brings
enough
up
to
that
do
brings
that.
up a really good point that I haven't mentioned so
So
far.
important.
The power of the 2-ply fabrication. Think about all these little covers or big covers or anything you have that have a million cutouts, like a
Bridge cover with a bimini on it.
forget the friggin' bridge cover. I'm talking like a console cover that has all sorts of cutouts for the T-tower that goes up. Some of these covers, they can look like an octopus because you gotta put it around all the struts and everything. If you think I'm gonna go up and reinforce around every one of those cutouts, no. 2 layers of fabric, stitch around the edge, your reinforcement is all built in. You know what I'm saying? Look at the console cover article I have. It's all, that whole thing is 2-ply. The guy loved it because it's heavy, it drops on, it stays on, and the amount of time that you would spend going around all those cutouts to not 2-ply it, you've more than saved the time for that extra fabric that you would have used. Now, sometimes it just makes sense to 2-ply it. Like you got a hatch cover, right? You know, you can reinforce all the way around the edges of it. Why just not make it 2-ply, stitch it around, bind it, be done with it?
So if you have a big
Yeah.
panel, fairly good sized panel that doesn't actually end up with any cutouts, what do you do to sort of keep the panels in the middle from separating?
Oh, you mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you had, say you 2-plied this whole thing. for
I
whatever-
would never 2-ply this whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, a little area like that, if I was gonna just cut that piece out, I'd probably do that 2-ply.
Okay.
And then I would do that 2-ply, and then I just put a reinforcement along the bottom, and I'd put a reinforcement along this edge because it's going over a windshield, okay? Because it wants to have extra beef where it curves over the windshield, so I'd have I would make this all 2-ply because it would sag too much.
Okay.
But a little
That's
area
what
like
it's-
this,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to just 2-ply it than to run a strip like this, you know, and reinforce the piece. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but you know, we like to make the wide reinforcements like we did. So, and the other thing you want to remember is the power of seam allowances to expand or shrink a cover uniformly. Everybody know about that?
Yeah. like a Helms cover.
Yeah,
Or
you know
you
about
use
that,
them as-
Marla?
Say that again?
The power of varying seam allowances to uniformly expand or shrink a cover.
Oh, yeah.
Oversize.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
So,
just for instance, say we always use 1/2 inch and our guides are all set up for 1/2 inch. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. And you pattern a console cover and you pattern it really tight, or even what we patterned back there. We might have fit that really tight with pattern and everything, and if we made it up to that with the fabric bulk and everything, it might, be really hard to get that on. You'd have to pull it down and stretch the fabric, and you kind of don't want that because that's going to create a lot of chafing every time the guy puts the cover on and off. So the best way to do that would be, instead of adding a 1/2 inch to all your pieces where you seam it, you add 5/8 of an inch, but you only stitch a half. So,
Yep.
you've grown the edges by 1/4 of an inch, and it provides that extra room, like for console covers, binnacle covers, anything like that. Add 5/8, not a half, but stitch half. Add 5/8 of an inch hem, but stitch half.
right.
Now, if you were patterning to foam, and you weren't just doing a box cushion where you'd undersize the border and oversize the foam, if you were actually physically taking patterns of a foam piece, like the cord cloth, and you make all your pieces. Now, when you pattern the actual piece of foam, like if you were doing a